When a cowboy sees beauty, I didn't buy you, I saved you, a shocking untold truth. The desert sun hung low, casting an orange glow over the dusty town of Silver Creek. It was a day like any other, until a piercing scream shattered the air. It cut through the chatter of townsfolk, grabbing every ear. Eyes turned, hearts raced. That scream belonged to Lily, the local beauty known for her radiant smile and kindness. But today, that glow was dimmed, and everyone immediately felt a chill creep up their spines. Just beyond the saloon's swinging doors, an unsettling scene unfolded. There, on the ground, was a shimmering silver locket, lying next to her cowboy boots. It had fallen from her neck, the very piece she never took off. Rumors swirled, maybe it's cursed. Or did someone steal her heart? Ladies gasped, while men narrowed their eyes suspiciously, as if the locket was a magnet drawing them into a storm of secrets. As whispers filled the air, a shadowy figure emerged from the crowd. It was Jake, the rugged cowboy with a reputation for being both mysterious and brave. He approached Lily, kneeling beside her. She trembled, tears glistening like diamonds in her eyes. He reached out, lifting the locket delicately, like it was a tragic masterpiece. I didn't buy you, he murmured, his voice low and steady, I saved you. His words hung in the air, heavy with unsaid truths. What did he mean? The crowd fell into an uneasy silence, confusion mingling with curiosity. Suddenly, a distant thunder rumbled, not of a storm, but something darker, something that made the hair on the back of everyone's neck stand up. Eyes darted around, searching for the source, while the tension thickened. Just then, someone shouted, "Look!" Pointing into the horizon, the townsfolk gasped at the sight of a cloud of dust rising like a ghostly veil. It was coming fast. The eerie feeling of inevitability swept through them. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the dust cloud grew larger, the air was thick with anticipation. What's out there? Someone whispered, barely daring to voice the thought racing through their minds. Jake locked eyes with Lily, a silent agreement passing between them. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. But just then, a terrible, ear-splitting screech pierced the tension, and the ground trembled. What was happening? In the distance, a figure appeared, silhouetted against the setting sun, and it was running straight toward the town. Was it friend or foe? The questions loomed, and every heart in Silver Creek pounded with uncertainty. Would Jake and Lily uncover the truth? Or were they walking into a trap that would change everything? The crowd held its breath, waiting for the next move. The dust cloud surged closer, wrapping the townsfolk in a shroud of dread. Hearts raced as they squinted against the blinding sunset, trying to discern the form speeding toward them. Was it a friend, or had the darkness finally come to claim its own? Lily clutched Jake's arm, her body shaking with fear. Who is it? What do they want? She gasped, her eyes wide with terror. Jake stood tall but tense, every instinct sharpened. I don't know, but we'll find out. Stay close. His voice was rough, steady, shielding her from the chaos surrounding them. As the figure dashed forward, the crowd began to stir, whispering, shifting restlessly. As the figure drew near, the glint of silver flashed in the fading light. It was a woman, her hair was wild, dancing in the wind as she sprinted. There was a desperation in her stride that set alarms off in Jake's head. Get back, everyone! He shouted, stepping in front of Lily protectively. The woman stumbled to a halt just before the saloon, her breath ragged, eyes darting around the crowd like a caged animal. "Help please," she gasped, collapsing to her knees. The townsfolk exchanged glances, fear mixed with curiosity. "Who are you?" Jake demanded, moving closer but keeping his guard up. "My name is Clara," she managed, her voice strained. I've seen them, they're coming." Panic glinted in her eyes, and the murmurs grew louder, confusion rippling through the crowd. "They're hunting for you, Lily." The sudden accusation drew gasps. Jake's heart dropped. "What do you mean?" "They want the locket." Clara's hands clawed the dirt, as if trying to steady herself against a looming shadow. "It holds a power, something deadly. They will stop at nothing to get it." Lily's grip on Jake tightened, her nails biting into his skin. "The locket? What's so special about it?" Clara looked at Lily, her expression torn between fear and urgency. "It's cursed, and it binds you. If they get it back, it will bring destruction." The crowd's restlessness turned to alarm. People shuffled back, whispering to one another, glancing nervously at the horizon where shadows loomed closer. "What do we do?" Lily asked, desperation creeping into her voice. Jake felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. "We can't just stand here. We have to protect you. Come on, let us." Before he could finish, a low rumble echoed from the distance, stronger now, like the growl of a monster awakening. A dark horseman emerging from the dust cloud, cloaked and menacing, face obscured. The townsfolk froze, fear thick as smoke in their throats. "Jake, I think they're here," Lily whispered, voice trembling. The figure reined in the horse, the dusty earth swirling around them like an ominous storm. The horseman lifted his hood, revealing a face familiar yet twisted with malice. It was Tom, Jake's old rival, a man whose heart was as cold as the iron he rode. "Lily." Tom's voice rang out, dripping with sweet malevolence. "You have something of mine." Jake stepped forward, positioning himself between Lily and the threat. "You can't have her." Tom laughed, a dark and chilling sound. "But it's not just her I want. It's the key she carries, the locket." A surge of adrenaline coursed through Jake. The stakes had just become life or death. "No one's getting the locket," he shouted defiantly, but as the crowd braced for confrontation, Lily's eyes widened. "Wait, we can't let them get it. I need to know the truth." And with that revelation hanging in the air, the tension snapped like a summer storm, each heartbeat echoing the pulse of fear, as they stood at the precipice of chaos. Would the locket reveal its secrets, or had they all stepped into a trap that would lead to ruin? What would happen next, as the darkness closed in? The dust settled into an eerie hush, the atmosphere thick with danger. Every eye in the crowd flickered to Jake, seeking an answer. His mind raced as the reality of Tom's threat loomed before them like a predator waiting to strike. "Lily, listen to me," Jake said, his voice low but urgent. "Whatever the locket is, we can't let him take it. We have to figure out what we're dealing with." He turned back to Tom, fists clenched at his sides, preparing for the fight that felt imminent. "You can't have her, Tom. Not now, not ever." Tom smirked, his eyes glinting malevolently. "You think you can protect her? I've been waiting for this moment, and you, Jake, are nothing but a hurdle." As the crowd held its collective breath, Clara scrambled back to her feet, brushing dirt from her jeans. "You don't understand, Tom," she cried, her voice cracking with fear. "The locket, it's more powerful than you think. If you touch it, it could unleash horrors none of us can control." Tom waved her away dismissively. "All I need is her, and the locket will find its way to me. This town won't survive the night." Jake felt the weight of Clara's warning settle like a stone in his belly. "We need to get to safety," he said to Lily, but she didn't move. Instead, her eyes flickered with determination. "No," she said firmly. "If the locket is so important, I need to confront this. I can't run anymore." The crowd swirled in confusion, some gasping at her sudden resolve, others glancing nervously at Tom, who remained eerily calm, a smile creeping across his lips. "Smart girl," he taunted. "You're right where you need to be." Jake stepped closer to Lily, the fear coursing through him. "You don't know what he's capable of. We have to stick together." But Clara chimed in, desperation clawing at her throat. "No, Jake. Lily needs to know the truth for herself. If she has any chance against him, she needs that knowledge." As the tension coiled tighter, Tom barked a laugh. "What truth? That she's a pawn in a game far beyond her understanding? I can make her see it just one touch of the locket, and she'll realize her destiny." Before Jake could respond, Tom surged forward, the horse beside him snorting and stomping. The townsfolk gasped, and panic surged through the crowd. "Step back!" Jake yelled, raising his hands, but he could feel Lily turning beside him, her face set in determination. "Stay close. Don't tell me what to do," she snapped, a spark ignited in her eyes. "I need to face him for all of us." The sound of hoofbeats thundered as Tom's horse stepped forward, the beast shifting impatiently, sensing the tension. The shadows of Tom's gang materialized behind him, emerging from the darkness like specters ready to claim their due. "Lily!" Clara shouted, reaching out. "Don't!" But Tom had already drawn a wicked-looking dagger from his belt, its blade glinting ominously. "Let us see if the truth can save you when it's too late." Jake lunged forward, instinct overriding fear, but Lily grabbed his arm, holding him back. The raw intensity of the moment seemed to stretch in time, every heartbeat pulsing with impending chaos. "Wait! I have to do this," Lily urged, her voice barely audible above the growing storm of emotions. With one swift movement, she removed the locket from around her neck, the ancient metal cold against her skin. Silence enveloped them as everyone froze, the air thick with uncertainty, like the calm before a thunderstorm. But as the locket dangled between them, glinting in the fading light, a sudden screech echoed from the horizon. Darkness swirled closer, its presence palpable and hungry. "Lily!" Jake screamed, panic flooding through him as he saw shadows leaping toward them, and with that, the chaos erupted, each moment spiraling into a whirlwind of sound and fury. As the fight for survival began in earnest, the darkness already creeping into their souls, what truth awaited Lily as she stood on the brink of upheaval? Would it unleash something far worse than she ever imagined? The moment of reckoning lay before them. The energy shifted in an instant. The crowd went wild, a mass of panic and confusion as shadows slithered closer, inching through the clutches of fading light. Jake's heart hammered wildly, his thoughts racing. "Lily! You can't do this," he shouted, words tumbling out like a desperate plea. He reached for her, but she stood firm, the locket glinting ominously as if alive, an entity unto itself. "Look at it, Jake," she whispered, her gaze locked on the ancient piece of jewelry. "It's calling to him, maybe it's calling to me, too." Tom laughed, a low, dark sound that twisted in Jake's stomach. "You see? She understands the power. Soon, she'll understand it even better than you do." The shadows darted, swirling in frantic jerks like angry bees, seeking a way toward their target. Jake swallowed thickly, and his mind raced to Clara's warning. If the locket was as dangerous as she said, what did that mean for Lily? "Lily, you don't know what's waiting on the other side of that locket," Clara yelled, panic threading her voice. "You need to put it down. Please." But Lily continued to stare, transfixed. What if it's the only way to stop him? She turned her head slightly, searching Jake's face for understanding. "I can't let him take anything from me again. Not when I have a chance to fight back." A low growl rumbled from Tom's throat as he took a step forward, dagger raised, the blade glittering like a serpent ready to strike. "Then let the games begin." Jake surged forward, adrenaline propelling him, but he was too late. In one swift motion, Tom lunged, his hand darting out like a striking viper. The dagger glinted just as he thrust it toward Lily. "No!" Jake shouted, urgency clawing at him. The moment stretched thin, every breath suspended in time as the dagger sought its target. But in that heartbeat, something unexpected happened. The locket pulsed with a light more brilliant than either Jake or Tom could anticipate. A shockwave exploded from it, rippling across the crowd, sending them stumbling backward. Tom's eyes widened, surprise etching deep lines on his face. "What is this?" he spat, his confidence wavering for the first time. Lily's body tensed, the locket thrumming with energy. She held it tightly, as if absorbing its vibrations, the ancient symbols etched into its surface glowing with an inner fire. Silence fell over the chaos, the rush of shadows halting, hovering like smoke in the air. Confusion displaced the agitation, and for a moment, they were captive to the moment, a singular, charged tableau of darkness and light. "Get ready," Clara whispered, voice barely a breath. "Whatever happens next, keep your heart steady, Lily." As tension built, Jake could feel the crowd's apprehension, the weight of their collective gaze resting heavily on Lily. A bond formed between them, their hopes and fears intertwining in that desperate moment. But then, with an earth-shattering crack, the ground beneath them trembled violently as a fissure snaked through the soil, ripping through the fabric of reality. Lily stumbled but caught herself, the locket glowing fiercely now, and she raised it higher. "This isn't just the past, it's a doorway." Instantly, the shadows whipped around them like a storm raging inside a glass jar. Tom stepped back, fear flickering in his eyes. "No. You don't know what you're doing." But just as she seemed ready to step through, a blinding light erupted from the locket, and in that moment, everything shifted. Time, space, even their very souls seemed to cling to that fractions of a second narrow escape. What choice would Lily make as she stood at the edge of the unknown? Would she risk everything to confront the truth, or would the darkness consume them all? The tension crackled in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife, as decision time approached with chilling certainty. Lily's heart raced, the light of the locket illuminating her face in a dazzling glow. The shadows trembled, caught in that radiant pulse, writhing like creatures unsure of their master. She swallowed hard, her breath escaping in shaky gasps. "Lily." Jake's voice punctured the moment, laced with panic and desperation. "Don't do this. You'll lose yourself." Tom sneered, his bravado evaporating as the shadows began to swirl more erratically, clashing against the pulse of the locket. "You have no idea what lies beyond that light. Don't let it claim you." But Lily stood her ground, fueled by a fierce determination. The promise of power, of the chance to reclaim what was lost, surged within her. "This is my choice, Jake. I can't let him win again." Her voice barely rose above the chaos, but it rang with conviction. Suddenly, the ground gave another violent shudder. Cracks spiderwebbed outward, deepening with each heartbeat, each pulse of the locket's light. People screamed, stumbling backward as reality itself seemed to bend and buckle. "What are we supposed to do?" Clara's voice broke through the noise, a beacon in the storm. "We have to support her. We can't just let her face this alone." Jake felt his breath hitch. They were at a precipice, not just of the ground, but of everything they believed. He darted closer to Lily, fighting against the wind of the swirling shadows that clamored for attention. "If you step through, it may not just be Tom you face, I know." She cut him off, her eyes fierce with resolve. "But if I don't confront this, it will never stop haunting us. I have to take the risk." As she spoke, the locket blazed even brighter, illuminating the darkness encroaching on them all. The shadows seemed to scream, recoiling from the glow, but then they twisted into snarling faces, dark memories clawing for existence. "Lily!" Tom shouted, his voice suddenly devoid of his confidence. "Stop. You have no idea what's coming." The fear in his voice was palpable, a reflection of Jake's own growing dread. That had to mean something, didn't it? Without warning, Lily raised the locket with both hands, the light pulsing in time with her heartbeat. "I'm not afraid," she proclaimed. "I'm going to uncover the truth, whatever sacrifice it requires." The moment hung heavy, the air thick with anticipatory energy. The fissure at their feet widened, revealing an otherworldly abyss that swirled with colors never before seen and sounds that clawed at their minds. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. A storm of whispers surrounded them, voices of past lives, lost dreams, and buried secrets. Clara clutched Jake's arm. "It's now or never. We either follow her into the unknown or let her face it alone." "Lily!" Jake called. "Please." Just as she seemed on the brink of taking a step into the void, the locket flared, and a pulse resonated through the air, vibrating with malicious intent. Shadows surged toward her, drawn to the light like moths to a flame. In that heartbeat, Jake's resolve solidified. "I want to let you go through this alone." He surged forward, reaching for her, but before he could touch her, a deafening roar erupted from the fissure, reverberating through his bones, slicing through the screams that engulfed them. The shadows converged, and the world began to unravel. "Together!" Jake shouted, desperation bleeding through his voice. And then, with every ounce of strength, he lunged, his hand meeting hers just as she crossed the threshold. The explosion of light consumed them both, pulling them into a realm of swirling color and darkness, colliding with feelings and truths beyond their comprehension. What lay on the other side of that luminous barrier? Would their combined courage be enough to face the darkness together? As they disappeared from the world they knew, the silence wrapped around them like an unshakable cloak, leaving only questions echoing in the void. The light enveloped them, and for a split second, all was brilliant peace. But just as quickly, the brilliance faded. The colors twisted into unsettling shades of deep blue and charcoal gray. The air thickened, stinging their lungs, smothering the shouts they barely managed to push through their throats. Jake blinked, trying to find Lily in the turbulent haze. His heart pounded as a distant echo of her voice pierced through the dark. "Jake!" He stumbled forward, grasping at nothing but shadows, panic clawing at him. The ground felt both solid and shifting, like standing on ice. "Lily!" he yelled, his voice shaky. "Where are you?" A flash of light flickered a few feet ahead, illuminating a sight both mesmerizing and horrifying. Lily stood with the locket in hand, the light echoing her form as if she were a spirit. But around her, shadows twisted violently, enacting a macabre dance of hunger. "Jake! I can feel it!" she cried out. Her voice was a combination of exhilaration and fear. "It's like it's calling me. It wants something." "No! Don't listen to it!" Jake almost screamed, rushing closer. Every instinct drove him forward, the locket's glow bathing him in an eerie warmth contrasted by the chilling darkness looming around them. "She needs to let it in. Let it take control." Tom's voice slithered through the gloom, an insidious whisper. His laughter reverberated, taunting them from somewhere else in this shifting reality. "She's too weak to resist." Lily hesitated, the locket's light dimming. "Jake, I can't. What if I lose myself?" "Trust yourself. You're stronger than this." Jake shouted, gripping her shoulder. He was shivering not just from fear but from the raw energy swirling everywhere. "You have the power to break free." The shadows laughed, a cacophony of voices swirling around them, each taunting her, dredging up memories of failures, doubts, and insecurities. Images flickered before her, moments where she felt powerless, alone, or haunted by her past. She pressed her eyes shut, trying to block them out, but the light surged again, and within it, she glimpsed fleeting visions, her childhood laughter, moments of love, her friend standing by her side. It was strength and hope battling against despair. I can't. Look beyond them, Lily." Jake urged, desperation spilling into his voice. "You're not those shadows. You're not your past." With each word, he felt the grip of the darkness loosening ever so slightly. A new determination sparked within Lily. I am more. I've fought too hard to let this take me down. The locket brightened, the pull of shadows wavering. She took a step, then two, pushing past the darkness, fueled by the memories that inspired strength. I have to know the truth. I will take this step. Suddenly, the shadows shrieked in fury, twisting and writhing, taking on monstrous forms that lunged at them. She cannot escape. They snarled in unison, their voices thick with rage. Lily! Hold on! Jake shouted, throwing himself against the tide of darkness, enveloping Lily in his arms as they both teetered at the brink of despair, twisting, writhing shadows clawed at their limbs, but as they pressed together, the locket burst with radiance, and a wave of warmth washed over them, driving the darkness back. Jake felt it connect, pooling strength, igniting unity. But then the locket began to dim, what once shined bright started flickering, as if it was struggling to maintain the connection. No! Please not now! Lily cried. A sharp chill gripped her heart as Tom's laughter echoed through the abyss. You cannot escape your fate, Lily. This is where darkness claims its prize. In that moment, an overwhelming tension filled the air. Both Jake and Lily steeled their resolve, their hands intertwined, hearts racing against the onslaught. Just as the shadows lunged once more, the locket pulsed, sending them both hurtling backward. Their world spun, until everything imploded into a blinding white light, and then darkness fell again. Where were they now? What further challenges awaited them in this new reality, one they may not be able to defeat together? The darkness cracked, revealing small slivers of light piercing through a haze that smelled of damp earth and rust. Jake's eyes fluttered open first, the sensation of cold gnawing at him. He lifted his head slowly, his body aching in ways he had never felt before. The weight of the shadows pressed down on him, their echoes still ringing in his ears. Lily! He shot up, alarm surging through him. Panic flooded his veins as he looked around. The landscape was bleak, littered with twisted trees that towered ominously above a barren field. Jake! Her voice reached him, thin and distorted, like a whisper carried by a chilling wind. He strained to find her, hearing the desperation woven into each word. Where are you? He called, the ground crumbling beneath his feet. He struggled against the heaviness, his heart racing as he realized the shadows were no longer just behind. They had seeped into the very fabric of this new realm. Ahead, he spotted her silhouette, hunched over and trembling. Lily! He reached for her, sprinting across the uneven terrain. The air thickened with a hushed suspense, every step echoing like a drumbeat in the silence. She looked up, her eyes shimmering with fear, the locket still clasped in her hands, though its light was faint. Jake, they're all around us. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. The trees creaked and groaned as if awakening from a long slumber. Jake and Lily were thrown off their feet, landing hard on the ground. The dark shadows from before shifted and twisted, crawling toward them like serpents hungry for prey. Stay close! Jake shouted, yanking Lily to her feet. The bushes nearby rustled, and from their depths, menacing apparitions emerged, faces obscured and eyes hollow, ripping through the darkness with more fury than before. Tom appeared among them, his smile twisted, radiating a false charm. Welcome back to my domain. Did you really think you could escape so easily? No! Lily yelled, clutching the locket tighter. Its glow pulsed weakly, wavering against the tide of darkness. Jake tightened his grip around her hand, resolve igniting within him. Keep moving. He urged, their voices rising above the cacophony around them. They charged forward, dodging the grasping shadows that reached for them. Yet, with every step they took, the landscape shifted, the ground beneath morphing into treacherous slopes filled with invisible snares. Jake, I can't, Lily gasped, her breath coming in short, desperate bursts. The shadows coiled tighter around them, and their whispers grew louder, pulling her back to the memories she'd fought so hard to leave behind. You have to fight it. Remember who you are. Jake shouted. He knew she had strength buried deep within her. This is not your fate. Together, we will shake off this darkness. With a sudden burst of courage, she gritted her teeth, feeling the light of the locket surge as if it sensed her determination. I want to let it take me. She screamed, her heart now pounding with furious defiance. Light enveloped them both, casting aside the creeping shadows for precious seconds. But as they reached a clearing, the shadows loomed again, more intimidating, more powerful. You think you can resist forever? Tom's voice slithered through the air, a venomous hiss that gripped their hearts. You can never escape your past. Shut up. Jake yelled, pulling Lily closer as the darkness swirled around them. The energy from the locket began to pulse rhythmically, matching the beat of Lily's defiant heartbeat. And just as hope sparked in their chests, darkness unleashed a thunderous roar, and a familiar face morphed within the shadows, an alter ego they did not recognize. What are we facing? Lily cried out, staring wide-eyed at the creature that had twisted from her own reflection. The shadows danced as it loomed closer, and her heart sank. Sometimes the biggest monster is yourself, Jake whispered, dread consuming him. Would they be able to fight against what lay within? As fear washed over them, a surge of light erupted from the locket, piercing through the shadows. Would it be enough to banish the darkness, or would they discover the truth hiding behind their own fears? Lily's heart raced, the sight of her own nightmarish reflection looming over them. It was a grotesque echo of her deepest insecurities, lips curled in a malicious grin. You're weak, Lily. You can't run from who you are, the shadow mocked, its voice a chilling whisper that clawed at her sanity. Don't listen to it. Jake shouted, standing in front of Lily, his own fear boiling beneath the surface. He could feel her trembling, the fear swirling around her like a tempest. He whispered, You're stronger than this. Remember what we fought for. Remember that light, remember us. Just as the shadows lunged forward, trying to consume them, a brilliant pulse of light erupted from the locket, momentarily pushing back the suffocating darkness. The rays sliced through the air, igniting the surroundings and revealing whispers of hope lingering in the corners. Jake could see it then, a path, faint but clear, winding towards a horizon that promised escape. Go! He yelled, pulling Lily along as they rushed toward the light. But the creature's twisted laughter echoed behind them, a dark melody that filled the air with dread. You think you can escape? I am you. Suddenly, Lily stumbled, the shadow reaching for her legs, whispering venomous doubts directly into her mind. You've always been afraid. You'll just disappoint him again. As her breath came in quick, jagged gasps, she felt a cold clutch at her chest. No, Lily. Jake shouted, dropping to his knees beside her. You are not your fears. You have fought against everything to be here. Don't let this thing corner you. He squeezed her hand tightly, their connection pulsing with the warmth of determination. With newfound energy, Lily gritted her teeth, rising from the ground with strength she didn't know she had. Her eyes sparked with an inner light, ignited by Jake's conviction. You're wrong. She screamed at the creature, her voice drowning out the darkness that loomed. The shadow hissed and contorted, pulling away from the brightness of her defiance. You can't banish me. You can't escape yourself. But the locket intensified, its glow radiating power as if fed by their combined resolve. In that moment, the clearing erupted into chaos. The earth shifted violently beneath them, the shadows writhing in panic as the light surged forth, breaking through the looming darkness. The air crackled like dry lightning, igniting a vibrant warmth that elicited shouts of disbelief from the shadowy figures surrounding them. Tom's twisted grin faltered as he watched the chaos unfold. You will pay for this defiance. He spat, moving to intercept. But Jake was already steps ahead. Lily, now! Jake shouted, pointing to a shimmering trail of light that appeared in the distance. It flickered like a beacon, a lifeline amidst the turmoil. With their hands still locked together, they dashed forward, navigating through the chaos, illuminating their way. Each step felt like a war against the shadows clinging to their heels. As they approached the glow, a piercing scream erupted around them. The shadows began to fragment, unraveling against the tide of pure light. The horrifying countenance of Lily's doppelganger twisted and shrieked as it dissolved into the brilliance. But just as victory seemed to be within grasp, the ground shook violently again, this time splitting open like a chasm, darkness curling up from the depths. "No! Not yet!" Jake yelled, trying to pull Lily back. They leaped across the gap, the shadows clawing for them, desperate to reclaim their victims. But the light from the locket flared one last time, and for a brief moment, they felt the warmth of hope wrap around them like a cocoon. Together, they shouted in unison, and as they broke through the threshold into the new realm beyond, the darkness shrieked in frustration, twisting and flailing in their wake. Lily fell to her knees on the other side, panting heavily, her heart racing as shadows fluttered just beyond the border. "What was that?" she gasped, panic creeping back in. Jake looked at her, his breath caught in his throat. "Whatever it is, it's not over yet," he said, his eyes widening as he turned to the horizon. Ahead, a figure loomed, a ghostly silhouette emerging from the fog, instantly recognizable yet shrouded in mystery. "Who is that?" Lily whispered, dread creeping up her spine. Jake's face paled, realization dawning. "I think it's someone we both thought we left behind." And with that, the shadows stirred again, eager to reclaim their hold in this new, unpredictable chapter. Would they have the strength to face yet another ghost from their past? The figure stepped forward, emerging from the mist like a lost memory. Lily squinted, her heartbeat thudding in her ears. A woman with sad eyes and a familiar drawl met her gaze. It was Sarah, Lily's sister. The last time she'd seen her was years ago, before everything fell apart. "Sarah?" Lily breathed, disbelief capturing her voice. The woman appeared weathered, each line on her face telling stories of pain and perseverance. "Hey, sis," Sarah said softly, her voice like a gentle breeze blowing through Lily's soul. "I've been waiting for you." "Waiting?" Lily echoed, confusion spiraling in her chest. You were gone." "I wasn't gone," Sarah replied, stepping closer, the shadows swirling around her like a raging tempest. "I was trapped. Just like you are now." Jake stepped protectively in front of Lily, his eyes darting nervously between the two women. "What do you mean, trapped?" His voice was steady, but there was an edge of uncertainty lingering. Sarah's gaze shifted to him, and her lips turned upward, mixing desperation with warmth. "It's all connected, Jake. The darkness, it keeps us tied to our pasts. We're not free until we confront what haunts us." "Why now?" Lily asked, feeling the weight of her sister's words. "Why show up now, when everything is falling apart?" "Because you need to remember the truth," Sarah said, her eyes narrowing seriously. "About our family, about your strength, about what you're capable of." A shadow lunged forward, snapping at Sarah. It seemed bent on dragging her back into the abyss. But she held firm, her presence flickering like a candle against the chaos. "You have to choose, Lily. Are you going to let fear dictate your path, or are you going to fight?" Each word pierced the air, vibrating with an energy that compelled Lily to see beyond the immediacy of fear. But doubt crept back in. But what if facing the truth only brings more pain? "Pain is part of healing," Jake interjected, lowering his voice. "We can't let it consume us." The churning shadows responded to their hesitation, swirling with rage, dipping dangerously low. "Enough of this." The sinister voice of the dark entity reverberated around them. "Your past is your prison. You cannot escape what is already inside you." Lily's breath quickened, the shadows coiling tighter. Suddenly the ground trembled once more, sending tremors through her legs. She was on the brink again. What if they could band together and shatter the darkness? But could she face the memories she had buried for so long? "Lily." Jake's voice was urgent. This is your moment. Fight for yourself. Fight for us. With Jake's hand in hers and Sarah standing firm, she felt waves of strength cascading through her. No more running. The time had come to embrace whatever her past held. Together. She shouted, her heart swelling with fierce determination. The shadows lunged, eager to silence her threat. As they clashed like stormy seas, the light from the locket swirled with courage, igniting a path of luminescence throughout the chaotic landscape. A shocking silence enveloped them when a sudden realization struck Lily's mind. What if Sarah's truth leads back to something I never wanted to see? The shadows shook, deceiving whispers clawing at her resolve. Yet, Lily stood firm, determination in her eyes. I'll not be defined by my past. Not anymore. But just as she braced for a confrontation, a fresh wave of darkness surged forth, swarming the space. You think you understand pain, but you haven't seen the worst of it yet. With fear twisting like a knife in her stomach, Lily focused on Sarah's steady gaze, hoping for a lifeline that might just pull them through. Tell me what I need to know. She shouted over the fear, the shadows clawing at her sanity, and as the skies turned ominous, leaving uncertainty crackling in the air like electricity, Lily felt her heart race. Would Sarah's truth reveal the light, or plunge them deeper into the abyss? In that critical moment, the answer loomed just out of reach, shrouded in the very shadows they sought to defeat. Lily's heart hammered in her chest as the darkness tightened around them. Shadows wriggled like snakes, each whisper piercing the fragile courage she had built. Beside her, Sarah stood tall, an anchor against the gale of despair. Jake's grip on her hand was strength made flesh, grounding her as the shadows writhed in mockery. What do I do? Lily pleaded, her voice strained. Beneath the weight of uncertainty, she felt the flicker of fear clawing for dominance. The shadows, they know everything. They know my fears, my secrets. I can't face them. You can't let the whispers take root. Sarah shouted back over the chaos. They thrive on your doubt, but you hold the truth. And the truth is far mightier than the fables buried in fear. Lily scrunched her eyes shut, desperate to block out the darkness clawing at her mind. Memories surged, the laughter of her childhood, moments shared under the silvery moonlight, her mother's warm embrace, all woven together with love. Yet, lurking within it, shadowy figures taunted her with echoes of inadequacy. Lily. Jake's voice broke through the despair. Trust yourself. Trust us. Remember those moments? They're why we fight. With his declaration, a vestige of light pulsed from the locket, illuminating dark corners of her consciousness. Lily's eyes flicked open, stars of determination igniting within her. She could stay trapped in this paralysis of fear, or she could face it. I want to let them have power over me. She shouted, her voice firm and unwavering. The shadows twisted, enraged by her defiance. Snarled faces glared, morphing into twisted, grotesque visions of her insecurities. They screamed doubt, ready to swallow her hope whole. You're not strong enough. They hissed. You're just running from the truth. You'll never escape. But in that moment, she remembered Sarah's warmth and Jake's unyielding faith. No. She cried out, squaring her shoulders. I am more than what you say. I have the people I love. I have the strength of my past. With those words, the fluctuations of her emotions ignited new flames of courage, and the locket blazed brilliantly, shooting beams of light into the churning darkness around them. Stand with me. Lily shouted, her voice reverberating within the tempest. Jake and Sarah moved closer, forming a united front, their energies intertwining into a powerful shield. The shadows recoiled from the advancing light, shrieking furiously as they felt the weight of their impending defeat. You think this pittance of light can save you? You're wrong. Tom's voice thundered, but even he faltered, the malice in his eyes shifting to panic. I will claim what is rightfully mine. We have family, we have hope, something you've never had. Jake bellowed, and with those words, Lily focused on every joyful memory she carried, fanning the flames of her power. In that electrifying moment, the shadows began to crack, fissures of light erupting through their formation. They twisted and convulsed, dark faces unraveling into streams of smoke until they began to dissipate, fading into nothingness. Lily released a triumphant shout, feeling the locket vibrate with newfound energy. Together, we face this. She yelled, her heart soaring as a wave of light cascaded from them, swallowing the last remnants of darkness. The air shimmered, transforming around them, shadows falling into an abyss. With a bright blast, they pushed against the night, illuminating not just their surroundings but revealing a path, and then silence fell. The battle had ended. In its wake, it left a stillness, a quiet peace embracing them. Did we win? Jake asked, a tad breathless. Yes, we did, Lily replied, disbelief washing over her. Relief spread through her, but as hope forged a path ahead, uncertainty nestled in her mind. Wait, what now? Sarah asked, glancing back at the dissipating echoes of their foes. Lily clutched the locket, still warm against her chest, and felt its power thrumming softly. Now we find our way back, and this time, it's for good. I have the truth. We hold the light. Then let us go home, Jake said, nodding resolutely. With hands clasped, they stepped forward, the locket illuminating their path. Each step felt lighter, buoyed by the power of their unity. The air around them shimmered, revealing a familiar landscape stretching before them, a budding field, bathed in the glow of the sun, promising new beginnings. They could hear laughter, the sounds of life. Lily turned to Jake and Sarah, tears of joy filling her eyes. We did it. We faced the darkness, and now we're free. With that heartfelt declaration echoing in the warm breeze, they walked into the light together, ready to embrace whatever future awaited them. And as they ventured on, the past trembled behind them, full of shadows still, but shadows that won't ever consume them again. They had discovered the strength of love, unity, and the truth powerful enough to light any darkness. I need you to take action now. If you want to dive deeper into stories like this, subscribe immediately to the channel so you never miss an exclusive story. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm, and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Only true fans know the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.